I gave you all a copy of the dangerous building ordinance again because we are I thought maybe we needed to discuss again what an unsafe building really does mean. So if you look under unsafe building, various inadequacies, whenever the building or structure or any portion thereof because of dilapidation, deterioration or decay, faulty construction, removal, movement, or instability of any portion of the ground necessary for the purpose of supporting such building, the deterioration, decay, or inadequacy of its foundation or any other cause is likely to partially or completely collapse. Then we have manifestly unsafe, for the purpose of which it was being used. We have inadequate maintenance, whether it's used or intended for, this is, I think, would be also for the houses, because we questioned about houses, but it said whenever a building or structure used or intended to be used for dwelling purposes because of dilapidation, decay, damage, faulty construction, or otherwise, is determined by any health officer to be unsanitary, unfit for human habitation, or in such condition that is likely to cause sickness or disease.
That's why I asked for a health officer when I first got this job.
Right, and we haven't gotten one yet.
I don't think I ever got one.
But I would say that would determine our dwelling. And the fire hazard, visibility of structure because of its condition is determined by the fire marshal or fire chief to be a fire hazard. Or abandoned, that's probably where we run into the most. Yeah, where it remains on the site after the demolition or destruction of the building or structure, or whenever it's abandoned for a period in the excess of 6 months, so as to constitute such a building or portion thereof an attractive nuisance or hazard to the public. Now the enforcement officer you'll see above is Terry, unfortunately. I don't know why, but it is. So he's the one that's supposed to examine or cause to be examined every building or structure or portion thereof that's found to be damaged. And to give the owner or structure written notice stating the defects thereof. It requires the owner or person in charge of premises within 48 hours to commence either the required repairs or improvements of demolition and removal of the building or structure or portions thereof, and all such work shall be completed within 30 days from the date of the notice, unless an extension is granted by the council. But in no event shall there be more than one 30-day extension, which is something we probably need to look at, because I remember in the past we've had it extended, and that hasn't been a good deal.
How we've done it in the past is we have a form from Region 12, and we give them a 30-day notice, and then we're required by law to give them another 30-day notice, and then we write a ticket and file it with the clerk of court. And once you go to court, and I've only done it twice, they'll get at least another 30 days.
And sometimes 6 months.
Yeah.
That's happening on the council.
I think
That's
maybe our judges are wiser now. After a few discussions. So then it goes through the notice and the hearing, of course, and the conduct of the hearing. The posting of signs, which is kind of interesting because we have a couple of buildings that maybe should cause to be posted. Do not enter, unsafe to occupy, by the City of Sac City. Such notice shall remain posted until the required repairs, demolition, or removal are complete. The notice shall not be removed without written permission of the enforcement officer, and no person shall enter the building except for the purpose of making the required repairs or demolition of the building. Yes.
The posting of signs, does this take place after the owner is notified? Okay, it doesn't say that here, but I mean, just to cover.
We had the sign.
I wouldn't think that you would have to wait until the owner was notified. It could all happen at the same time.
I mean, if you tell me to serve a building,
well,
I'll sign it right away.
I mean, God forbid there's a catastrophe like was in wherever it was, where you had the tornado, Parkersburg, that, you know, you might have to tag buildings immediately without notification, depending upon who the owner is. So I don't think we could say that it would happen after that. Then the right to demolish In case the owner fails, neglects, or refuses to comply with the notice to repair, rehabilitate, or to demolish and remove the building or structure or portion thereof, the council may order the owner of the building prosecuted as a violator of the provisions of this chapter and may order the enforcement officer to proceed with the work specified in such notice. A statement of the cost of such work shall be transmitted to the council. Costs incurred under Section 145.07 shall be paid out of the city treasury. Such costs shall be charged to the owner of the premises involved. Levied is a special assessment against the land on which the building or structure is located and shall be certified to the county treasurer for collection in the manner provided for other taxes. And the reason I brought this to you, of course, is because we discussed this in the past, is we do have some buildings that fall under this.
Yep. So what we're going to do is pass this on to the council for their approval.
Well, the council this is their ordinance, it's not ours. This is a council ordinance.
No, that's what I mean, yeah.
And so, if in fact there are properties that are dangerous buildings, of which we know that there are, then the council needs to be aware that their actions are actually outlined in the ordinance and that they need to be followed. Where we're running into trouble, and this is going to happen again in June if we don't pay attention, is there'll be a tax sale on property. And Terry can tell you how many times somebody from Timbuktu will pay the back taxes on this property. I don't know how many of you have ever been to a tax sale. It's the darndest thing I've ever seen in my life. People sit around a table and they all have like a whole bunch of little numbers in front of them, like I might have 3 and you might have 4 and you have 5. And then they read off the legal description of the property, and then they take a hat, like Nick's, and they walk around and throw a number in if you want to bid on it, and they take the hat back to the supervisors, and the supervisors rummage around in it, draw the number, and they are the people that pay the back taxes, and they become the assignment of back tax owner of the property.
But
So
they
not
don't
the
have
owner.
a deed.
No deeds,
There's
just
no
the
law.
assignment of the tax sale goes to them. That's how sophisticated, and I understand it's that way everywhere. Our problem is we have people from Dubuque, Wyoming,
California.
Davenport, California, all over, that pick up these back taxes. And then when they come out to see the property, they throw their hands up. So what we have before us is maybe somebody has paid the back taxes for 2007, but nobody has paid the back taxes for 2008. Now, if you get into the situation where somebody from out of state or council bluffs or wherever picks up these back taxes, then you will sit on that piece of dilapidated property for another 2 to 3 years.
Boy Scout building.
What people get, you can't, yeah.
Okay, just because somebody picks up the back taxes, that will stop this proceeding?
No.
No.
Actually, it kind of starts all over.
Yeah.
Because if they say you pick up the back taxes and Terry decides that the building is unsafe, he will notify you, hey, look, you picked up the back taxes on this not so nice piece of property, and this is what's wrong with it. And usually then, they refuse to take assignment of title. They just lose their money. If they think they can push the city to clean it up, and then they think they get a pretty piece of property. So this is where this absentee taxpayer is really messed up. Then they might hold on to it thinking you're going to fix it up for them, and then they'll have a clean piece of property. Well, that doesn't happen. Well, if you're smart, it doesn't happen.
Because the city will just assign the cleanup costs against their property.
The thing to do is, and when we're in this situation right now where a person refuses to take deed to the title. So I think in a couple of cases, maybe Terry needs to talk to Colin, but he needs to send a letter to the person that paid the back taxes saying, so far you paid the back taxes a year ago, you haven't paid the current taxes, you have the assignment of tax sale. You either fix this building up, starting within 48 hours, you have 30 days to do it, or assign the tax sale over to the city or whomever so you can clean it up.
But you just have to hope that they'll do that.
Yeah, well,
And if they
That's
don't,
what they're going to do.
if they don't, They just,
They don't have a deed, they're not the property owner.
I know, so there's no
They're just.
club that you can use to get them to clean
Get
it
them
up.
up.
No,